Hi guys, so today I'm here with Pickle and I am still a little bit out from starting the rooting series, but I did want to make a short video and just go over supplies that I'll be using so that you guys, if you don't have the stuff that you need yet, you'll have a chance to get them. I'm hoping to be able to start in about a week, but I do have a whole bunch going on right now that I'm trying real hard to finish this week. So fingers crossed next week we'll be able to start. If it's not next week, I really apologize, but just know that I am working very hard trying to get this out as quickly as possible. So hopefully you guys are finished painting your pickle kits. This is mine. I just wanted to show her off again. I love this one so much. I'm so happy with how it came out. On the Pickle Tutorial Series, I will be leaving that one up until February 1st. I'll leave the full series in public videos. On February 1st, it will be moved into members only, so you can still follow the whole series if you join the channel at member level and above. I'll throw this in super quick. If you want to support me, please do subscribe and like. It really helps me to create more content for you guys. All right, so let's get started. The very first thing that you're going to need is hair. I use two different types of hair. I use fine adult hair for most of the head. For my fine hairline work, I use alpaca. If you do not have alpaca, if you cannot get two types of hair, you can definitely do it all with just one type of hair. I really like fine adult hair because it is the finest of the adult mohairs. It is just a tiny bit coarser than alpaca. So this is my personal preference. If you like a more coarse, thicker hair strand, then you could just get regular adult mohair, and that is totally fine, whatever you guys want to do. My preference for mohair is Silk Effects mohair. I absolutely love her fiber. Sarah Silk owns Silk Effects, and I will put links in the descriptions for most of this stuff if I'm telling you where you can get it. It is hard to get her stuff. It sells out right away when she posts it on her website. But you can contact her and get a custom order. I think she says it takes up to 2 weeks. My last orders have been super quick. Like, she did them in a few days. So I just ordered kind of generic colors, but they were fast. Other places that I recommend for hair are Southern Charm Mohair. They make really nice regular adult mohair. It is coarser than this, but it is really good quality. And I have seen a lot of people get it from Happiness for Dolls on Etsy, which is in Poland. I have had 2 batches that were really good and 2 batches that were not. One of them turned green after a few months. One of the browns, the dye turned green, and the other one was very, very brittle. It just would snap. It would break instantly when I would root it, and then a whole bunch broke off after I got done rooting. So that one is kind of hit and miss, but they are definitely more affordable than Silk Effects. If you are able with your credit cards to order from Russia, Carmen Dolls in Russia is absolutely amazing. She has really great quality mohair. I've used her mohair for probably 6 or 7 years. I have not been able to order it for the last few years because of the stuff going on in Russia. None of my credit cards allow me to make any payments to Russia. So that really sucks, but it is good quality hair if you want to try to order that. And then obviously any hair is fine. These are just my personal preferences, ones that I've had good experiences with. All right, so we have hair. The next thing that you're going to need are rooting needles, also known as felting needles. The size and amount of barbs is the second most important thing to get a nice looking head of hair. The first obviously being mohair quality. These are my favorite sizes. I use a 42 crown, which is, I believe, a single barb. It might have two barbs, but I think it's single barb. This is what I use for all of my regular head work. For this finer mohair around the hairline, we're going to do a very natural, realistic newborn hairline. I would say the style is going to be a more advanced rooting style, but I encourage you, if this is your first time rooting, to follow along. If you can go into it learning how to root like a pro, you're going to have a much easier journey with your rooting. If you can get it down the right way the first time, and then you'll just practice and keep getting better. But if you learn the right way the first time, it'll make it easier. The one that I use for hairline work is 46 crown. This one is a single barb. It is a finer needle, and it works really, really great for alpaca. Alpaca is so fine that if you use a larger needle size or too many barbs, sometimes it can cut the alpaca. So you want to make sure that you're using the appropriate size and type of needle with the hair that you're using. Some people like forked needles. I have tried forked needles and I just cannot get them down. I have a hard time getting a hair. When I can get a hair, I don't have the same control. But if forked needles are your personal preference, then you would get forked needles. Just get whatever you want, but I would definitely recommend getting a regular, anything between a 40 and a 43 crown for our regular hair work. And then anything from a 44 to a 48 crown for our hairline work. And I get these at Cupid Falls on Etsy. They have amazing needles, and they do not come dipped like this. I actually use Plasti Dip and dip my own needles. They come blank, just the regular bar. But I like to dip these because when I'm holding them, it just makes it a little bit easier. There are some tricks. If you don't Plasti Dip, you can take a rubber band and band around here real tight, and it'll make it more comfortable. I personally do not like rooting holders, needle holders for rooting. I find certain types, they make the needle really long and your needles will snap. And the mushroom ones I do not like because I don't have as much control. I like being able to hold my needle like a pen very close to where I'm rooting and just make sure that I have full control over the angle and position, everything, that where my needle is going. And I find that using them just like this gives me the best rooting results because I have the best control. Cupid Falls on Etsy. These are crazy, crazy affordable. And I used to use Heavenly Illusions needles before I found these. I did like Heavenly Illusions. That's a good brand. But I have found that these ones are a lot cheaper and they're actually better quality. My needle that I'm using right now, I believe that is the 8th baby that I'm rooting with that same exact needle. These ones, my needles never ever break. After about 10 babies or so, they'll get dull and I'll need a new needle. But the price just can't be beat. These are like the same price as the really cheap, horrible ones that you can get from like Amazon or eBay, which I do not recommend. Those have a ton of barbs and they are not good for rooting realistic, good quality hair. All right, moving on. This is not a necessity. This is a nice to have. I would recommend getting a rooting pillow of some sort. This rooting pillow right here, I actually got on, I think I got it at Walmart actually for $5. It was a kitty bed. But you can see it has this little dip in the center, and it makes a perfect spot for holding the head as you are rooting, and just raises it up a little bit higher if you're rooting on your lap. For this video, I will be rooting here because you guys will be able to see me the best. But I will be totally honest, when I root on my own at home, I am not rooting at my desk. Oh, I found a rooting needle in my pillow. But I'm not rooting at my desk. I root propped up in bed with a bunch of pillows with this on my lap, and rooting is one of those super tedious things. You want to root wherever you're most comfortable. You don't want to be hunched over your desk rooting. Your back will be angry about it later. So you just want to root, as comfortably as possible. I'm planning on my rooting series. I will map out each section and how we're doing it. And I'll root one section for a while and say, okay, guys, today we're going to finish section number 1. And then I'll come back and root for a while when I start the next section. But I'm not going to sit at my desk for the 40 hours or so it will take to root her. It would be too much. So yes, I definitely recommend a rooting pillow. They also sell specific real rooting pillows that are pretty much just like this, but they are branded for rooting on dollsbysandy.com. This was just a much cheaper option. If you have a boppy or something, or even just a regular pillow, whatever you have to make it more comfortable, use it. I will say, since I did found this is what my rooting needles look like when I do not coat them. So if you buy from Cupid Falls, this is what they're going to look like. I do know that this is a 42 crown because it is color coded. And I actually was looking for this the other day and couldn't find it. It sunk into my pillow, so it's good to know where it went. The next thing that you're going to want to get is a heat lamp. This specific one is called a Himalayan salt lamp replacement base. So on a real salt lamp, it would have a crystal looking salt thing that would go on top of this. It does have a dimmer switch, so you can do different, I don't have it plugged in, but you can do different heat levels, which is very, very important. You do want to make sure that it has a base like this. A lot of people are really afraid to root with heat because they've seen horror stories. They're afraid that they're going to melt a kit. There are some other types of rooting lamps that just have prongs. They do not have this base. I used to use those before I found these, and I melted a head with it. I don't recommend it. This one, you can see they work on almost all heads unless you're doing a mini, but it fits securely in here. There's no big movement, and if it's in here, even if you push it this way, halfway out, I have to really push in to touch the bulb. It is I don't want to even say this in case it happens, but it is almost impossible to melt a head using this type. If you're using it properly, you would almost have to do it on purpose, or with some serious gross negligence of some sort, like pulling it almost all the way out like this where it would touch and leave it on high. But if you are using it correctly, you're making sure that you unplug it when you're done rooting, chances are you're not going to have any issues with that at all. If you don't have one of these, if you can't afford to get one, if for some reason you are just not comfortable using heat, that is totally okay. You can use another method, which actually works pretty well. It would not be my preference on Pickle, because Pickle does have thicker vinyl that I feel like really would need to be heated to avoid any pock marks. But if you're using a Bountiful baby kit or a softer vinyl kit, this is a really good method also. You would just fill the head completely with poly pellets, those little hard plastic round pellets. You would pack it all the way in, and then get a paper towel or a little washcloth, whatever you want. and put it in and tuck it up here around the flanges. After that, I will usually get a little piece of saran wrap and put it over here and just hold it on with the band just to make sure that none happen to spill out. But as long as it is packed really, really full, it will keep your head very firm so that you don't have any give, and that will help prevent those rooting pock marks also. So you can do it that way. As far as mohair conditioner, you will want to have some mohair conditioner with you. You can just use water, but I would recommend making your own mohair conditioner if you don't have any. I make mine using a mix of, this is what I use, fabric. It says fabric conditioner, but it's from the laundress. This one is actually specially formulated for wool. So it has like really, really great, I can't even think what I'm trying to say, moisturizing qualities for wool. I mix just about, I would say less than one of these giant caps. I would say, you know, right down here to the bottom with this fabric conditioner, and then the rest with water. This has like an anti-static agent, so it makes sure that, you know, if you're using it, you don't have any flyaway static hair. It is just a super great product. It is a little bit expensive. I buy this on Amazon. If you want a cheaper option, you could get any fabric softener. You will want to get a free and clear version fabric softener. You want to make sure that it is white and that it doesn't have alcohol perfumes in it. Just get, I think I used to use all free and clear fabric softener, and it would be the same. You would just put a little bit in the bottom and then water and shake up. I've talked about this in other videos, but you do not want to use human hair conditioner. It has a lot of oils. It usually has some forms of alcohol in them. And what happens is, even though you have this great protective varnish layer, if you put anything like that on the baby and it gets on the vinyl and the head, over time it will make the vinyl shiny, and it can actually break down varnish over time, or even instantly, depending on how strong it is. It would have to be pretty strong, but it's a risk that you should definitely avoid taking if you can avoid taking. Once hair is cut from an animal, it does not have its own oils. So the way that you care for it is more like a sweater than actual people hair. With that, you will want to get a toothbrush. I actually recently lost my favorite toothbrush. I was so upset. This is just a regular kid's toothbrush. I also have little bamboo toothbrushes. You can use a mascara wand, but I would recommend getting a toothbrush. It's just a lot easier. You can cover more area. You will be, you know, brushing as we root, so just get any toothbrush is fine. You just want kind of like a soft bristle regular toothbrush. This one is like curved. It's just the one that I grabbed, but I will say if you can find one with flat bristles, that actually works better than this. As far as little miscellaneous tools, you are going to want tweezers. I like these slanted tweezers the best, but obviously you can make any tweezers work. You are going to want to get bobby pins. I just buy these big cases, and what I use these for is holding my hair so that I know where the cut end is. I can easily just pull out what I need. And that is just the easiest way I have found. There are other methods. Some people do a strip of that sticky Velcro. I personally don't like doing that. I find sometimes when I've pulled them out of there, they're a little bit frizzy, or sometimes, you know, they'll use the Velcro while they're rooting, and then when you go to pull out, it rips the hair out of the head. It doesn't actually come free. So this, after trying a bunch of different methods like tape, all kinds of weird, crazy stuff over the years, this simple way to keep my hair tidy and ready for rooting is my preference. You will also need a pair of scissors. These are just cheap hair cutting scissors that I got from who knows where. You do definitely want like these small scissors. Like you would not want to use like a pair like this, for instance. You do want a small pair. We will use these to cut hair as we're rooting, but also to trim the hair when we're finished. And you can get these probably on like Amazon or anywhere. And honestly, since you're not going to be a barber, you're just using it for a few things, just the cheapest pair of hair cutting scissors is totally sufficient. You will also want to get some chalk, more than likely. I will probably be using chalk to demonstrate mapping and stuff on this head, just so you guys can use it, can see it easier. If you have any Prisma pencils, these are really, really fantastic for mapping your head out. You will want to make sure that you do very, very light mapping, and I'll explain that to you guys in the mapping video. Again, this isn't a must, it's a nice have. If you happen to have them and want to use these instead, they're great because they won't get wiped away like the chalk will. And the last thing that you're gonna want is saran wrap. Any brand is totally fine. This will be put in our pillows to protect our rooted parts and also to protect the already rooted hair when you go to bed at night when you're not rooting. You do want to keep it covered and protected. Alright guys, I think that is our full supply list. I will put the links to Silk Effects and a few other mohair suppliers. I feel like there are other good ones that I just, you know, blanked on while I was saying it. So I'm going to think on that for a few minutes and put some other links in the descriptions also. I will put the links to these rooting needles. All of this other stuff you can just get on Amazon, or more than likely you probably have most of this stuff already at home. With the fabric conditioner, I really like this stuff. It works a little bit better for me than regular fabric softener, but I will say it is not 100% necessity. Regular, affordable fabric softener, as long as it's white fabric softener and you'd probably want unscented, is totally fine. I've used that for years. It works fine. So I would probably just, you know, go as cheap as you can on that, but you'll want to make sure again that it's white. If you open it up, you don't want it to be blue. You want to make sure it is white fabric softener. Alright guys, I am super excited about starting this head. I really wish I didn't have so much going on. I wanted to have already started it by now, but I'm really excited to see your guys' rooting as we go along. I did also want to make a real quick announcement that the members only group on Facebook is almost ready. It is, I don't want to invite people because we're still tweaking a few little tiny things, but then I will put that in the member info so that you guys can join and share more of your stuff with me as far as photos and progress and all that kind of stuff. Alright guys, I will see you in the next one.